before the last thing that I said. Do you understand what I'm saying? So and you see, as instructive and simple as that is, that's the way we lose it. You start well, you are focused. Oh, I'm pursuing it, then you lose your grandfather. I'm talking about realities of life. Then for like 3 weeks, you are down. Then for the next 2 weeks, you are trying to recover. The passion with which you started certain things and you were. Do you understand what I'm saying? Realities of life. Then you are going on, you failed the course. Or something happens, you had an accident. Or something happens, you lose your money. So the reality is all of those things will come, and I think the earlier we know and we prepare our minds, the stronger we will be. See, there's nothing you can do. You can't select the problems, the challenges you are going to face. You cannot, sir. But they will come. And it's better you brace up yourself for whatever it is and be determined that, yes, no matter what I go through, no matter what I experience, I'm focused that this is one thing that I will do, this is one thing that I will achieve. So, in answering that question again, one thing that is very key is focus. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. Looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, himself, who for the joy, do you think it's easy to be killed? It's not easy. Now, to be killed in such a way that Jesus was killed, you will know that even when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, he said, Father, is there another option? Because it's not easy to be killed and nailed. But the Bible says that for the joy that was set before him, he endured the pain. He despised the shame, so that he could go through it. Guys, there are things that we have to go through. There are some of you that some of the things you will go through this year, you are going to tell your children in 10 years' time. And probably that's what will strengthen them, even in 20 years' time. So, but as you are going through it, is it palatable? No, some of them are not. Some of them are terrible experiences. Some of them are not things you could even share this year. But guess what? 20 years after, because you are still focused, do you know that there are people who started as Christians and they are even worse of unbelievers right now? They started loving God, they started, living for God, doing well, and then something came across them. And the example I usually give a lot of times is the Daniel guy, the son of a pastor that we were preaching to, and he said he's an atheist. And what happened? He has always been the son of a pastor, going to church, doing well, and all of that. Then they arrested him, put him in jail, and he was in jail for 2 years. And he was like, where is God? When they arrested me for what I did not do. That God doesn't exist. How come you allowed them to get me to? I didn't do. They raided, they took me, and then I'm in jail, and I'm in jail for 2 years. For doing nothing. For what I did, And he said he doesn't believe in God. That God doesn't exist. So guys, realities, things will happen to us. If I tell you some of the things that happened to me this year, some things that have never happened to me in the last how many years that I couldn't ever imagine, yes, it happened. So I think the most important thing is that we must keep our focus, because when we remember that if I don't get to that end that I want to get to, I will be a failure. Then I'm striving and ensuring that. So be it spiritual standards, spiritual goals, or academic goals, or financial goals, or health goals. There are some people who have health challenges. You know what? These are the times that you can take up a stand and say, I'm not going to live my life taking drugs just because I have a child. What can I do? There are so many. You know, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So there are so many things that we can do to ensure that we keep on going. And like I'm saying, it's not going to be like easy, but because there's something I read in the scriptures recently, and the translation was, I think it was the story of, you know, that story that Jesus told about a neighbor coming to see someone. No, a visitor coming to see someone, and the person went to the neighbor to say, please, I don't have anything, I have a neighbor that has just come, please get me. And in concluding the story, Jesus said that the neighbor would not give that person what he was asking for because he was the neighbor, but because of the importunity, the trouble of always wanting. I mean, the person kept on asking. So I read a translation that interpreted it this way in 2 words. It said, shameless persistence. He said because of his shameless persistence, that neighbor will give him what he wanted. It's one of the things that we have to have to achieve whatever God has put in the inside of us. Shameless persistence. That is, you are shameless of it, you are consistently asking until your joy is full. So I don't know whether that answers the question to an extent. It's not the only thing, but it's one of the things that you need to be able to stay afloat. Okay, what makes you stay afloat in water consistently all through the time that you are on water? Yes. How many swimmers do you have in the house? You swim. Raise up your hand. What keeps you floating on water, sir? The flapping of your hands, your leg. What? Your breath.
Yes.
Your breath is what will keep you floating.
Yes.
How long can you hold your breath?
So the thing is, if you
no, I want facts. Okay, so what keeps you afloat in water as a human being? You're on water.
Movement to make inside the water.
Yeah.
And so if you want to stay without moving, you just want to float on the water. You just need to hold your breath and stay in a certain position. You stay there.
Okay,
yes, it's just, you know, let people float on water. Let people float on water.
Okay.
So the way you hold your breath, as long as you hold your breath.
Is that true?
They float on water now.
Yes.
So is the
hold your breath. You don't get it. You put your face in the water.
Medical doctor to be. Can you? What we have gained though, that yes, I've seen people, you know, float on water, no activity.
Yes.
Okay, so he's holding their breath.
How they keep their lungs in?
They are not holding their breath.
They are holding their breath.
They are not holding their breath. Bro. What is it? I'm going, bro. They are not holding their breath. They are thinking of things.
Anyway, where I'm going is this. For you to stay afloat on water, there's something you are consistently doing. Just like both of them said, once you stop doing that thing, you sink. There's something you are consistently doing on a consistent basis. So for example, look at some of the things that we say you should consistently do. If you want to know God more, how do you know God more when you don't read about Him? When last did you see Him physically? When last did you shake hands with God? We can't. He's not in physical form like this that we can see. But there's a lot that has been written about Him. How many of you know your great grandfather? Raise up your hand. You met your great grandfather? Raise up your hand. You see? Now, but you can know so much about him if there's been so much documentation about his life. Alright. How many of you know about Nelson Mandela? Raise up your hand. You don't know? How many of you shook hands with him before? How did you know him? Alright. How did you know Nelson Mandela? Research. You read about it. Meanwhile, somebody that shook hands with him said, just to let you guys know, that he was Miles Morone. Miles Morone shook hands with Nelson Mandela. And I think he said, I can't remember whether he said he was almost crying. Because the feeling of the palm was like stone. So there's a way you can read so much about someone and you will know a lot about him. So to stay afloat water is a lot. However small the activity will be, it must be consistent. So Moyo, that's another keynote. Consistency. So start with passion, but don't reduce your passion. Don't reduce your enthusiasm. Don't reduce your effort. Consistency. And I believe that. Now, let me quickly warn that because you project that you want to achieve one particular thing in a particular year, does not mean that it will be. It's possible that it will not be that year. I'm telling you the truth. But if you have that shameless persistence, like you just said, it might be the next year, it might be 2 years after, but the joy that you fulfilled it and the benefit to mankind that you fulfilled it is almost immeasurable. So let's not okay, so because there are some people who are like looking at 2023, oh, I wanted to achieve this, I didn't achieve it. So you continue because you still have life. You re-strategize again for 2024 and then be able to move on. Did I try in answering, but not quite?
No, I guess one key thing I get for is the consistent like of showing off. So I understand from that because there's you can try to be focused, but consistency goes focus.
Yeah. Good. Next question.
I actually wanted to ask you.
Okay. You can ask for
Okay, so what happens when consistency doesn't pay?
We'll do why the place.
Okay, you want to expand on that?
So you said consistency pays. So what happens when it doesn't pay? Like when you are doing, there's one analogy you gave one time ago saying about one man that is it the chicken something that made the chicken that is one of these Chicken Republic.
Okay.
So he said he has been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah.
So just imagine that. So because you have this goal and you've been following this goal like all your life and it has not paid, but based on consistency you are still doing it and it's not paying. It's not every time it pays. I don't know if you get like. So what I'm just saying, the place I'm coming from is what happens when it doesn't pay? What would you do? What is the advice?
Somebody's raising.
I wouldn't say. So I get where you're coming from when you feel like consistency is okay. So there are two sides of two sides to it. In terms of, like for instance, like what Pastor was saying, is that if I'm setting a goal, the Bible might not want to come to fruition. Will not come into fruition in that year that you plan to achieve that goal. Or, like I said, So with habits and with goals, you have to work with systems. And when consistency comes into play, there's a path on the graph on how, if you want to reach your goal. The path to reaching your goal is not diagonal. It's, if you look at it, it looks like as if for most of the path it has not left still. It hasn't left still. And then just eventually it goes on the way. It's just the same way when you're planting a path for probably 2 to 5 years. You can probably not see the growth of that bamboo. That bamboo is more or less going down. But the day that eventually shoots, you will see it. In fact, you'll be very surprised at the growth at which it went. So it feels like as if for 5 years, it doesn't look like as if anything is going, but you just see like at one point, like just 3 days, 5 days, you just see like significant progress. But there's also the other side of things, which is why during the year we should have like review points. Because you can't see that you're going consistently doing a particular thing and that particular thing is not helping your progress to the goal that you want to reach. So that's why you need to now review it and say, okay, this thing I've been consistently doing, is this the right way? Is this the right way I'm supposed to do? And if it's not the right way, then you now readjust and now consistently do another thing. But the key thing is that consistency is what creates gives you the identity or the success that you achieve in life.
So to ask what you just said,
Next one.
yeah, another thing about goals here is you don't just set goals, they have to be very realistic.
Yes.
Now let me tell you something about consistency that you know. Now, you probably want to, let's say you're a fashion guy now, you probably want to work for Gucci next year or this year. Do you understand? That's your goal. Now, you are setting, your main focus is what? I want to work for Gucci. Do you understand? So if you don't work for Gucci at the end of the day, it's basically a failure. Basically failure. Do you get what? You're not looking at the processes, the little steps you are taking. Do you get? They look like at that point in time, it's not even like you're not even taking a step at all. Do you get? Because of where you are looking at. But in reality, you're actually making strides. Your goals are not just realistic. Do you get? So you won't see it. We are moving, you might be moving, you don't know. Because there's no way for you to actually measure the movement in the right way that it's supposed to be. You feel? That's just about pillow, thank you.
Okay, so I feel you've not answered the question.
Let's take Itibet.
Yes, let me bring it. Okay,
It's past the mind.
let me clarify the question.
Yes, we.
Yes, so JBO, from childhood I wanted to be a footballer. Putting it that way.
Okay.
Yes, I wanted to be a footballer. I've done everything. I've been to academy. I've played competitions. I've played street football. I've played anything that concerns football. I've done it. But you see, chill now. So you see, all these things I've been doing it since I've been going to academy since I was age 13 till now. Even now I'm still playing football. But the thing is, you see this football thing, it has a limit.
Sure.
So I don't know, I can't say I want to go and play in the Premier League at age 30. Saying waiting, I'm being consistent about it. This is my dream. It's calm down. So JBO, the question here is the dream for me to be a footballer. I've been chasing it for a very long time. I've been consistent about it. I've done so many things about it. But at this moment, at this time, it's more like even if I should get it, I won't even produce what I want to do when I get there. Like it's more like saying, okay, let me get to this place so I can do something. But when I now become, let me say I now become a footballer before age 30, I'm not going to be as strong or innovative as I was when I was very young. Shady. But even there's still a probability I might not even become a footballer again. Because sometimes it doesn't, I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
Sure, you get. So I'm asking now. So is it that? Is it?
What do you do after you have been consistent and you are not getting there?
Yes.
That is literally what I answered. The second question I answered. Why
So you review after 30.
because it happens.
Not after 30
Because
years.
see, so you see.
Okay, let's take Utibe now. Let's take Utibe.
Okay, so let me give this example. Okay, for many of you who don't know here, I'm a content creator. I create content YouTube and other platforms. So to be honest, yeah, consistency is a struggle because I've been trying to be consistent for years with filming content and all of that, and it's really not easy, a process, and you have to go through that process. But there are times where I'll be lazy about it and I can't just do content. I'll be like, tired and all of that because I don't have the mindset. So there's this thing about this don't give up mentality. So I believe you should have that kind of mentality, and you should give up.
Okay, let's
Now let me make reference.
Sorry guys, what else?
Now let me make reference to the Bible.
Hello.
Okay, so now let me make reference to the Bible, which says that you should not give up as you will be rewarded. That's in 2 Chronicles 16. It's in 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 7. Yeah. So don't give up. Hard work pays off and you'll be rewarded for it. So you guys should not give up. Don't have that mentality of not giving up, and it will pay off later. And also strive to be consistent. Have that mindset. Like Pastor said, you should be able to have that
Bro, hello, praise God. Hey, guess what? Come on here. Please wait. Wait. Last week, 2 days, okay, praise God. I will say something that should strike a chord, hopefully. There are some elemental things that we were taught when we were very young. And those that taught when we were young, we were not stupid. We were not stupid in the sense that they knew that when you have these things, when you grow up, there's some questions you will not really ask. Because it should be like when you were younger, they gave you a bicycle. And now you are old, you can't ride it. Then what's the end of having a bicycle when you were young? Now, come on, hold on. First off, wisdom, according to me, wisdom is God's perspective on things. So when you inquire God's perspective on things, you are wise. 1. 2. How many years did it take Abraham to get Isaac? Hold on. It took Abraham 25 years. Now, you're going to ask me, am I going to talk 25 years? No. Now, listen. God told Abraham. That's the factor. God told Abraham. And that's why I agree with Agbo when I was saying, like, sometimes you should give up.
Yeah.
If God won't tell you, bro, listen, hold on. Let me put this type of comparison. You may think this guy was trying for 25 years. He didn't have a child. In the eyes of man, you have been laboring 25 years, no result whatsoever. It's like you planted something, no seed whatsoever, no leaf for 25 years. And God said that thing will grow. And then on 25th year, don't go for it, just start. God didn't tell you the time, but He said it's going to grow. Now, let me give you some comparison. those were building Tower of Babel. What they were building is, they were seeing progress. They were saying, we'll touch the sky. They were building other things. That was progress with mind of mind. I'm sorry, mind of man. Do you know what I'm saying? However, when it was not of God, God didn't drop any instruction that you build a tower. Am I right? Now, what happened when you already get to their God started their language? So if you were there, you see all the content about building tower, continue now with what people and you power. My point is the fact is that what is God saying about a particular thing you are being concerned about? Otherwise, you go on about it for years and you don't have to think about it. Thank you very much.
Ayo. I'm not sure I can take everybody anyway. Ayo. Let's answer. I've lost the question. Mine is more of a question towards this microphone now.
Wait.
I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk.
Let us do a debate now.
If I give you the mic, I will talk.
I'm going to what just want to say was that I started thinking of, like I used to say, story of Joseph, and I noticed something about the Bible. These characters, if you look at them, they had other people around them, but they were the ones standing out. And I'm like, is that how it's meant to be? Like here now, that's why it's a question. Like, is it possible for all of us to all let's put it like Forbes list now? We're all talking about financial health. Is it possible for all of us to be on that Forbes list? Because I noticed something. If you look at Joseph, see his brothers, he was the only one out of all of them that was even written the Bible. If we look at some other people, if you look at Abraham, he had other family members, yeah, but he was the only one that was picked out to do certain things. And when I'm like, because being normal as a human, I'm like, why is that? I'm always finding, because okay, let me say, when I'm in class, there's some people that will not read. They will not read, they will not, you see them playing, you can put your head on the ground, and they don't reach. And they will enter the exam hall and you see results and you're like, it looks like you're the one that did not read. So my question, so when he's talking about football and everything, there's somebody in this world that cannot even play up to his standards, cannot even do better than him. We watch it on TV now. There's some people that will suppose like passport. I really have a problem because when I now, like throughout the game, you spoke about generational curses that come from family. How will you know that maybe something is holding you from? What I'm trying to understand that even after accepting knowledge is power. Like it seems that you need to get like it's like when you have that knowledge, that knowledge is power. Because for me, if everything you as a pastor is like as if everything that you know as a pastor, if I know it now, my life will be better. And that's how I see, to be honest, that's how I see life. Like, because I'll sit down, after struggling, I'll not sit down, pastor will not tell me the reason why is because you need deliverance. Then I'll do deliverance, then everything's now there. In my head, I'm like, after 20 years or something like that. But during those years, the pastor has been preaching, follow Christ. We follow Christ, we do this, we fast. So there was one link that Ola dropped on the group chat about 3 hours stuff. I watched everything. Do you know this man, he was born again, but he gave that, like everything was okay. He thought everything was okay for him until when he wanted to get married. Sorry, it's not when he wanted to get married that he knew that his legion of demons inside. And he has been preaching, he has been doing the work of the Lord. The demons did not manifest, but it was the moment he wanted to marry, he now realized, like the woman was always attracted to him, all of a sudden she's off. He now realized that is it. So in my head, I'm like, is it that we need to have like a structure or like maybe a book or you always in the Bible, but yes. But why is that? If me I read the Bible, I won't decode what you read, decode when you read it. To be honest,
Okay, there are so many questions. Let me try and take them. And they are closely related. Let me say that God works in us based on what we know. Often, God deposits things in us. Now, analyze the story of Joseph. How did it begin? How did the story of, or the journey of Joseph getting to his destination, how did it start?
A dream.
A dream. A dream that he could have said, oh, do you understand what I'm saying? But he started sharing it. As he was sharing it, he started thinking, it will be done, it will happen. Now, this is what I will say to you, Desmond. Don't throw away your dream of becoming a footballer. Now listen to me. How many of you know TD Jakes? TD Jakes. Do you know that TD Jakes he didn't desire to be a pastor. He was into music, he sings a lot, and he wanted to be a gospel singer like that. And then by the time he attained it, he was later and I realized that, what God was calling him to was higher than that. And now he's got a ministry. Now this is where I'm going. In throwing away that pursuit, that consistency that you are talking about, can somebody open to Hebrews 10:35? Because I need to back up these things with the word of God. Hebrews 10:35. Or maybe you should start from 33.
Hebrews 10:33. 33.
Go ahead.
Partly while you were made a spectacle both by reproaches and tribulation, and partly while you became companions for those who were so treated.
Yeah.
So you had compassion on me in my chains, and directly accepted the plundering of your goods, knowing that you have a better and enduring possession for yourselves in heaven.
Yeah.
Therefore, do not cast away your confidence, which has great reward.
Don't cast away your confidence. Don't cast away your consistency. This is what I will just advise you. It's not anywhere in the Bible, but based on my knowledge and experience, this is what I will advise you. Stay there in that lane. You want to be a footballer, you believe that that is the reality that God has put into you. Now, stay there. Continue there. If it is God, it will happen. If it is not God, listen, because of your consistency that God sees, He will take you to where He's taking you to. Through that. You are better off somebody that is not pursuing anything, that is not consistent at anything. Do you understand my point?
Yes,
So don't throw away that confidence that you have. Even though it were not of God, over time, God will place you and you will trace it back and be able to see that, thank God I didn't give up on this. Because there are people who eventually will be football analysts or coach. Do you understand? And at the end of the day, you will say that, wow. So, I am not God, I don't know the path that He has chosen for you. But what I will tell you is that don't ever, and that's the same thing as saying don't ever give up. You know what? Sanders that you are talking about, at over 60 years, the guy had always been frying chicken for decades. He's got a good restaurant. People used to come, was making money, was okay. Then all of a sudden, there was a bypass. And of course, nobody was coming towards that area again. What will he do at 60 something? Guys, the reality, let me say this, the reality of what is called never giving up is so powerful. The guy at that age started writing to restaurant. I have a recipe that is good. I'm sure if you use my recipe, it will attract customers. They said he applied to over 1,000 restaurants. Do you know what that means? How many of you seated here have applied up to 500 times since you have been alive? You have applied for one single thing. 500 is too much. How many of you have applied up to 50 times? One single thing. Then an old man at 60 something still believes that if I can get a restaurant that will use my recipe, there's still hope for me. And he kept at it. So, guys, I am not, there's nothing you are going to tell me that would ever make me give up on what God has given me. See, it's my dream. You didn't see the dream with me, did you? Analyze all you can analyze, guys. And the what I like Cosmos Maduka. There's something he said. I've shared it before. The guy at an early age saw himself that one day he will be a great impact to his world. And so a lot of times he sees these dreams out. One of these days, he was carrying his mom in the car, and he was married without a child. You know, mother has their expectation. And then he kept on sharing his dream, and he said, "Mommy, I'm sure by God's grace I will be this." And the mom said, "Shut up. Listen, he said it. I can give you the tape. He said it himself. This is not I heard. He said it himself." Mommy said, "Shut up. Stop telling me about all this and you want to be this one." It's just like you to say, "I want to be a footballer." And then we say, "You that you are 25. Keep quiet." The guy didn't know what came over. Because see, guys, when you will know it when something is in you. And that's why I say, may God help us to walk from our inside out. Because every time you walk from outside in, what is in is always conquered. So you are coming from the inside out. People say shut up. If you take that shut up, what is inside will drop. So this guy didn't know what came over him. All of a sudden he said, "Mommy, by the time I will do this, I will be this." Mommy said, "Shut up." Mommy was, because he was talking about his dreams, what God has put in him. Mommy said, "If you tell me about that your dream again, I want you to pack this car and I'll come down." The guy said the dream again. Mommy said, "Pack this car, I'm coming out now." The guy packed the car. Mommy, come out, bye bye. It's my dream. Today, I'm sure the mom will be so happy for following his. Guys, what you think is a dream, what you think is just, "Oh, I believe it, I want it," but it has always stayed. Don't drop it. Don't allow external forces allow you cowering. You know what I want to answer you about Forbes list? You know the reason why all of us are not on Forbes list? All of us are not doing what those on Forbes list do.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, I get it. I'm just trying to, I'm getting there. Let me ask you a question. In a class of 24 people, is it possible for everybody to be first?
No.
That's it.
Yes. Let me ask that question again. In a class of 24, is it possible for everybody to be first?
No. Wait.
Yes, I think the question at the beginning of the year, does everybody deserve to be first in the class?
No, that's not the question. No way. Now, let me put it in another perspective. Has that been a test? Listen, especially when you're in primary school. Has that been a test, class work, that all of you scored 5 over 5?
Yes.
Those people are the apple before.
That's what everybody pass. That's what I'm saying. There's a question like
Because you get
If every student understands everything that the teacher has taught, there's nobody that will be failed.
But not everybody is there.
There's no, yeah, so that's the thing. Everybody will become first, and there's no second, there's no third, there's no fourth. There will just be 24 people who are first. Now, this is where I'm going. There's somebody that did a research that found out that 3% of people that will not quit are the ones that actually employ the 97% that
Yes, now.
Go and find out any venture, any person that has become great, whether in ministry, in finance, in academics, so and such. You know, I was saying something here, I was speaking some of the things he was saying. And he said that you see somebody is not reading, you are reading. You think that the person is not reading.
I saw a show call on you.
There are people that, as you are saying something now, the thing is entering them and is forming a textbook. So when they have the opportunity to write that textbook, it's already in them, they write it. That's why I used to tell my son, see, everybody, it's the same thing even with reading the Bible. Why do you read? You said you want to be like me, you don't even pray, don't even try to be like that. But as I'm telling you, I didn't read my Bible every day. But I used to think a lot about, I could just think about a particular scripture and I'm just thinking and meditating about it. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you consistently read and develop yourself in an area, if you do that over a long period of time, sir, you'll be a master. Show me anybody that has been successful thus far in any area of life that has not spent time, energy, resources. Tell me. Let's talk about ministry. Bishop Oyedepo, Pastor Adeboye. Let's talk about finance. Aliko Dangote. If you, how do you think? Now, so I think what you are looking at is, you see, everybody is in time and season. Wait. I'm trying to look for a real example. So, for example, now, look at Boa. Look at Boa. What it's doing in terms of cement. Right? You know the guy that is selling his cement at 3,500. And he insists that even from next year, he will continue at that. Let me ask you a question. If that guy continues consistently at that for the next 5 years, will he not overrun Dangote? So, all of us have our areas, all of us have our places that if we stay there consistently, even if you want to climb and be higher than where Dangote is, stay there in your lane. A lot of times, we are looking at, oh, somebody is in this lane, oh, he's doing this. You stay on your lane. When you stay on your lane, I don't know how else to say this. Stay on your lane. Those people that you are seeing in those fields today, they've stayed on their lanes. They've stayed on their lanes. The thing is that they've stayed there for too long. They've stayed there for so long. They mastered it. You see, there was a video of a 71-year-old man. I don't know what they call it. You know, that they will tie a rope very hard, and then you will walk on the rope, walking on the rope. So they interviewed the guy. He said that, how come you are still able, and he didn't fall. Very tall height. And in fact, not only that, he would turn on the rope, put his head, and then would be like, hey, he will fall. But he didn't fall. You know what he said? He said, since he was 7 years old, he has been doing it. Guys, let me tell you something. If there's something you stick with now, and you stick with it for the next 30 years, and you, none of you is 30 years here. If you stick with it 30 years, and you stay there consistently doing it, Abba. Now, coupled with the fact that they are Christians. Now, somebody says he doesn't agree. I don't have a problem with that. You know what Henry Ford said? Henry Ford said, if you say it is not possible, you are very right.
I swear.
Right. If you say it is possible, you are very right too.
It's the truth now.
But where I want to get you guys to, I don't want you to be in a place where somebody says you are wrong, but you said, this is what I'm pursuing. And because somebody said you will not be able to do it, you now stop. That's where, let me tell you, that's my job. My job is not to help you see what is not possible. My job as the pastor here is to help you see the possibility and stay there in that possibility. I'm not concerned about who thinks something is not possible. In fact, for me, that's not any debate. I don't. They can go ahead. It's okay for them. But God says that whosoever shall say to this mountain, be thou removed and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he says shall come to pass. He will have whatsoever he said. Do you think God is lying? Jesus himself said that. My role here is to help you see that there's possibility. My role here is to help you see that building faith over time, consistently, and you don't doubt. You get to that place that you don't even doubt about your dream, about what God has placed inside of you. You stay there. You insist. That's what happened to people like Abraham. You don't understand what some of them. You know, it's easy to just read somebody's life in 3 chapters. You don't understand. How many of you knew that Abraham was dwelling in tents? He never really built a house. Yeah. Because he just believed that God is taking him somewhere. There are realities that unless your mind can see it.
Exactly.
Oyedeko was already saying that when the ministry was not, he said he was already, he read it. I said, guys, let me tell you one of my rules. One of my JD is to get you indoctrinated with the word of God. You believe the word of God so much. You take one part of it, you run with it. 10 years after it has not worked, you're still running with it. Go and check those people in the financial world, check those people in sports. That's what they do. They pick one thing, they say, I will be this. This girl that did 110 orders, what's her name again? Toby Amuson. How many of you knew that on her social media, there was something she was always placing there for years before the reality came? You sit down there, you tell me that it's not possible. Yes, it's not possible for you.
I swear.
My role is not to tell you how impossible it can be. My role is to help you see that it is possible. And so what you see a coach doing is that even when you are freezing, he says, keep on going. Keep on. You just lost a job. Keep on, my guy. That's the work of a coach.
Keep moving on.
The guy is on the field. He's almost dying. He says he wants to come out. Coach said, no, stay there. You will soon score a goal. Now, if the guy believes it, and he now scores the first goal, second goal, third goal, hat-trick, everybody now shares. But you didn't know what the guy was going through on the field. The only thing that kept the guy was stay there. I don't know what else to say, guys, but
You hit it though.
the reality is this. Don't drop what God has given you. Strategize, replan, restructure. If it is not leaving your heart, don't drop it.
Just forget your reality. I promise you.
You have done it for 13 years. You have just reached the level that Joseph did. There are people that have done 40 years. Let me tell you something. The only way we know that you believe that thing you believe, the only way we know that you believe is that you stay there pursuing and you die there. That's the only way. That's how we know that, yes. And you know what? Everybody pursues something in life. Is that you are pursuing something or something is pursuing?
I swear.
Don't swear, don't swear. Don't even swear at home, don't swear anymore. So, I don't know if I tried.
Try it, destroy it.
Like what I was just saying now. So when we were talking about Bishop Oyedepo, so during convention, Pastor Bill said something. He said Bishop was telling him he was just preaching, we were just preaching on how to acquire wealth. He was saying that you need to believe, you need to do these things. He said he did everything and was still. He said it was until he had to realize that there were principles he had to follow. Now, my point is, everybody here, there are different principles you have to follow to acquire what you want to acquire. And the thing is, if she follows her own principles, she's going to do it. If I follow that same principle, it might not work. So that was my point. I was saying that it seems that this Christian faith is like everybody, like there's this knowledge that we need to acquire to achieve what we want to achieve. Because she may acquire just little knowledge and boom. That's what I was referring to when they say that when you preach about family. Because in my head I'm like, if we're on the same line and we're taking the same step, why is that I'm not reaching the finish line, he has reached the finish line before? So that was one, I look at it as grace. That was where I pointed whereby how come in the list of Joseph's brothers, there were how many? 9? Why is it only Joseph? He's the only one that had something that the Bible really took. So it has brought this mentality that if in this gathering there's just like one. That's why I got
Even if there is one, everyone.
Maybe if I have the knowledge,
Your focus should not be on that one. And if your focus is on that one should be you. And if everybody thinks that will be that one, and there's nothing like the one. Jesus is the only one, right? Our focus should be, I like what Darasini said. What has God shown you? What has God said to you? Those are the things that you should start pursuing with all vigor, with all energy. And I know the next question you want to ask me is, me, I've not heard anything from God. Let me share with you how that with my life experience, I hope you are listening. I've seen that anytime there is a problem that occurs to you in life, if you are sensitive, there's something that is around the corner. I'm telling you the truth. So it was the same year that the person that I said to get to marry to said to me she's not doing it. It was that same year. Listen, guys, listen. It was that same year that I started to really study my Bible, pray to God. And for the first time in my life, after there's too much noise, there's too much.
There's too much noise.
After I fasted and prayed and I was waiting, I was like, God, what is my purpose in life? Because you know, there are things that happen to you, and the next year I even thinking this. Why am I even here in this life? You know, do you understand? So that was my focus. I wasn't, in fact, at that time I was like, oh, I wasn't even looking at anybody again. I was like, what nonsense? And one afternoon, I was sleeping. You know, I said that my mindset has always been, God, what would you ask me to? Just like Saul, there's discussion at the background. Can we?
Hello.
Just like Saul asked Jesus, what would you have me do? And one afternoon, I was sleeping. And it was as if somebody woke me up. I woke up. And the next thing that I did was teaching. I heard it. Sincerely, I was the only one in the house. I tried to look around who it was. I didn't see. And that's how I got to know. So that's how I got to know my purpose in life. My purpose in life is centered around teaching. Whether it's teaching people the knowledge of God, whether it's teaching people finance, whether it's teaching people whatever, teaching. I heard it very well. Now, so if you, I mean, you are still even younger than I was then. There's nothing stopping you to say, God, I'm confused about life. What would you have me do? Guess what? If you pray, if you seek, He will show you. It might not be my own experience, but even sometimes it might be that a friend will just say something casually, and it resonates with what you have been thinking about, and it's the answer to the question that you're asking. It has happened before. So let's not take these things like, okay, it's for some people, it's for all of us. How did David Oyedepo start the ministry? He went to go and visit a friend. Another disappointment. There was no phone there. He got to the place, the guy was not at home. There was no way to call the guy. Where are you? So he said to himself, what am I going to do with myself? I've traveled all the way to come and visit this guy. Let me go and pray. Went up to a mountain. Kept on praying, and God showed him a vision. Guys, these things are not fables, they are real. The question I want to ask you is, what effort have you made about your life? I've made effort. I'm not seeing the result I want to see, but I'm not stopping. You, if you have not even made any effort, you know what is gas boost? So life is not, there are people who live. Shebi, Ogo's dad was here. Was he not telling us about some of his other colleagues that were in school together, and today you will see them and you know, it's a shame because of the trajectory of life that they have followed. Number one, let me tell you, you are not better than them. Number two, God help you to make a good choice. There are choices that we make even when we are not making choices. When you have not made a choice for something, you have already made a choice. When you have made a choice, right, not to read the Bible, you have already made a choice not to know God. Every time you make a choice not to pray, you're already saying, God, I don't need you. That's the choice. However small that choice is. But you make a little choice. Look at Jesus. Look at Jesus. There was a problem. Thousands of people were there. He didn't want to send them packing to go home. Look at what did Jesus say? Bring anything that you can have. Somebody analyzed there. You know, the disciples will be like, Baba, we can't go out and go and buy. These people are plenty. You said we should go and look for anything that, okay, this is what we have. 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. I'm sure in their mind, they'll be like, I mean, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish will probably serve 2 people at the most in a wilderness. But look at what Jesus did. The Bible says that he gave thanks. A lot of people are not giving thanks for what you have. What that person has is what you wish to have. Let me tell you the truth. The way all of us we are going to get to where God wants us to get to will be different. There are some ladies that all they will need to do is preserve their lives, like Esther. And in the corner of their home, when nobody's even watching, the system is going to go and grab them and come and put them as queen. So, the element of grace can never be erased. Don't start looking at Esther now. You not start painting yourself. You not start doing everything. That's not what. Esther was not even painting anything. She was not even aware. She was not even aware that she was going to be chosen. Sir, it has been written like that. Let me ask you a question. If Esther decided not to preserve herself, if she decided to be disobedient to Mordecai, the uncle, would that opportunity have ever come to her? I think the long and short is that, number one, know God. Number two, have a purpose that aligns with God's will. Start with that. Even if you have not heard the one that God wants for you, start with a purpose that aligns with God's will. Oh, Jali, oh, Mapayon. Those are not the goals we are talking about. Do you understand? Goals that at least you know that God approves of it. Start with it. In the course of your journey, He will show you what He wants you to do. So it's not meant to be. He's not a rocket science. It's not a rocket science. It's something that you believe. Stay there. You continue it consistently. And like it's a warning, don't think that because you have planned that okay, it should happen in forget plans. If a child in the womb plans that it will come out in 4 months. Do you understand? Do you know that there are some children that can still come out in 8 months and they will still be okay? There are some that came out 11th month. 6 months will be fine, Abi. So, but let me tell you what must have taken place. They have been fully formed. If they are not fully formed and they come out, they have been fully formed. The legs, the eyes, everything has been formed. So they come out and they play. Guys, the reason why you are not emerged is that you are not yet fully formed. When you are fully formed, your emergence doesn't need any announcement. It doesn't. John the Baptist. Where was John the Baptist when he was preaching? Do you know what the meaning of wilderness is? And everybody was going to John to go and be baptized in the wilderness. Let me give you perspective. In Borno State, imagine John setting up a ministry in Borno State where nobody wants to go right now because of the Quran. And yet, thousands are trooping there. But the first 30 years of John's life, he didn't hear anything about him. God was taking with him. God was forming him. God was equipping him. God was loading him. The guy he was a strange man. What the Bible says was eating? Locust and strange man. Everybody will just be looking at you. In fact, that's why I even went to the wilderness. So there's the forming process that you have to give yourself to. I know one thing I've realized. Some of these wealthy people, that's what they do for their children. Yeah, they put them in a place. Yeah, they have everything around, but they say you must go through. Until you understand this, you can't move on. Stay there, understand this. If you don't, because it's going to be dangerous releasing somebody that is half-baked. Imagine somebody that is half-baked as a medical doctor is released into the market, to the labor market. So God wants us to be fully formed, so that when we are formed like this, issues happen to you, you just say, is it that one? I have grace to overcome. Another one hit you by the left. Say, is it this one? As I'm talking to you now, there are things hitting me right, left, and center that shouldn't make me to be here this morning. I'm telling you the truth. But I understand purpose. And you do what you have to do, so that number one, God can be praised, and then we can be fully formed. There are things that we will not become until we have been formed. Let me tell you, anytime negative things happen to you, please, after like maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours that you are crying or you have, come to a place of, God, what is around that you want me to know, that you want me to do? Because there's no, don't sit in, I don't know how we'll still come. You are never going to escape it. The dimension with which it will happen to all of us will differ. But for you to say, me or fair, I don't want this one. No. I had a guy that was very, very close to first class in my set. But for 3 good years, even me that had second class lower, I got a job almost immediately. For almost 3 years, the guy is not getting it. Is it because of his? It's not because he's lacking it. Sometimes God does something. No, I was reading Sister, and I advise you to go and get it. For those of you, it's 3,000 naira. Go and get it. Support her also, Sister Gloria. In one of the chapters in the book says that, does a good God allow his children to suffer and go through pain? What's the answer?
Yes.
Oh, the answer is yes. Oh, yes. If you are thinking, oh, God is a good God, he will never allow me to suffer. He will not allow me to go through this. Welcome to the club. You have not known him very. You are still a baby. It's like a baby in the family. They are, Daddy will never beat me. Oh yes, they are still 3 years old. They are still 2 years old. You will spill. In fact, they are still 2 years old. You will spill milk on the floor. You say, don't do that. They will help you back it. Grow to be 8 years old.
It is fun.
Not only will you pack it yourself, you still serve punishment.
Yes.
So, okay, is it that the father is wicked that is doing that? He has gotten to the stage where he needs to develop. He needs to learn that I must not be scattering things anyhow, because it is even a trap for my danger. So for example, you spill milk on the floor, you just walk away. It's the same one that will come and slip through that milk and fall and head will. So he's doing something that will prevent very terrible occurrence in the future. Have I tried to answer this question?
Sorry.
Okay, I don't know if I still have more time or if there's any question. It's 11 o'clock. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll see you next year. Let me quickly comment that. Okay, don't worry. I'll give the report next week. The first Sunday next week.